Okay, so let me start with a quote from a great guy called Ed Welch, and there's a very good article which I'll link to after this called "The Reality of Fear," and he says this: among our ever expanding troubles, fear and anxiety have pride of place. They are quintessential human issues. They're not so much problems that occasionally seize us; they are regular features of daily life that can be either quiet in the background or loud and dominating in the foreground. In this area, they come attached to our humanity. They say that we are powerless and weak. There are troubles ahead. Things cherished are at risk, and there is not much we can do about it. And they are correct. Anxiety. And let me now just read the first few verses of this well-known Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. We will not fear. Interesting words. We all respond to fear in different ways, of course. When fears rise, some of us are planners. And we plan and we plan and we plan. Where we feel out of control, we desperately try and reassert control. It's one response to fear. When fears arise, some of us, though, respond by just pushing them away. We kind of keep smiling. And if you're anything like me, you just say, it's going to be fine. For some of us, when fears rise, we run and hide. And this perhaps is escapism, escaping in Netflix or alcohol or social media. Or any other form of escapism. We all respond differently, but when we face fear, it's a reality for us. And wouldn't you agree that fear, to some degree, is in the air at the moment? And so when we read this psalm, it's amazing, those words, we will not fear. We will not fear. And this is not describing a feeling, I don't feel afraid. Rather, the psalmist is expressing a determination of the will. We will not fear. And we think, well, perhaps the situation is not that bad. I mean, how can he say we will not fear? Now, we don't know exactly the situation that the author is writing into, but the picture that he paints is the worst disaster he could possibly imagine. So just have a look at this next box here. Though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake in their surging. I mean, here's a picture he's painting. Two of the most stable things that they know of. Mountains and earth. That's stability. And then two things in Jewish thought which are quintessentially chaotic. Water and sea. And the picture he paints is one where stability is swallowed up by chaos. It looks, to all intents and purposes, as if chaos is winning in this situation. And that's, I think, how lots of people feel at the moment. Chaos seems to be winning. I don't know what your concerns are. Is it health concerns or perhaps work concerns or family concerns? One way or another, it looks like stability is giving way to chaos. And yet the psalmist says, we will not fear. How can he say that? Well, the key word is this one here. Therefore. Therefore, we will not fear because of this. And this is where he starts. God, he says, is our refuge and our strength and ever-present help in trouble. He's a refuge. which means that he shelters and protects us in the midst of the chaos. He's our strength, which means he empowers us to keep going through the chaos. When does he do this? All of the time, ever present. And from the psalmist's point of view, he is convinced that God is utterly dependable. Now, if you've been walking in the mountains, you'll have seen refuges. And if you have, you will know that they are not comfortable, but they are very effective. At the end of the day, a storm is a storm. It's never comfortable, but no matter how big the storm is, the picture here is that God is bigger. He is the sovereign creator, king over the chaos, and working his good purpose through it, even when we can't see that purpose ourselves. So here's what happens. When the psalmist considers the chaos of life, and then he considers God, and this is the big point. This outweighs this. And so as we confront the reality of chaos in life, it is possible to live without fear. Not because we deny the chaos, but because we know the God who protects and provides through it. Now, all of this leaves us with a choice, and this is where we'll finish today. And this is the question for us. Where are we going to focus? We can focus here, constantly checking the BBC News app, slavishly speculating about what is going to happen. And if that's all we're doing, then inevitably this will be our experience, fear. But we're encouraged here instead, whilst not denying the chaos, to keep our focus here on the God who is working his good purposes out and in the midst of the chaos is utterly dependable. So that's an encouragement for us today. No matter how we're feeling, no matter how chaotic we're feeling that life is, can I encourage us to put our focus not on the chaos itself, but on the God who is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. There's a lot more to say about this psalm, and my plan for the rest of this week is to kind of work through it slowly together. So that's just a starting point, but I hope that's an encouragement for us. I'm going to close with a prayer, and then for anyone who's got 5 minutes to stick around, we chance to ask any questions or make any comments and so on. But let me just finish in prayer. So Father, thank you so much that you are the God who reigns over the chaos. Thank you that in the midst of great uncertainty, that there is a God who is sovereign, working out his purposes, even though they might be hidden to us. And we pray that as we focus on you and on what you're like, rather than just focusing on the circumstances themselves, that would give us peace. And pray that we might also be able to say, we will not fear. Lord, perhaps in just a moment, we just commit to you our specific anxieties and worries at this time, and pray that our focus might be on you this day. And we ask it for Jesus' sake. Amen.